Hello everyone, this is G and welcome to a complete and ultimate guide on the big boy himself, Nemesis. Here we go over everything you'll need to know from basic tips, basic strategies, how to get a good handle on his power, builds and other perks that work great on the Nemesis, and overall how to improve your killer gameplay. This leads into his power, called T-Virus. T-Virus is a twofold power, one with a special attack called Tentacle Strike, which allows him to do a line attack using the tentacle to be able to contaminate and injure survivors. The second part of the power is called Zombies. This allows two roaming zombies to be able to traverse the map and put pressure on survivors randomly. Let's go over some stats. So the Nemesis is a tall character, the tallest character in Dead by Daylight's history. 115 movement speed with a 32 meter terror radius. The first thing I want to talk about is the zombies. There are two zombies that spawn on the map anytime Nemesis is on the field. So whenever a Nemesis spawns, approximately 30 seconds after, the zombies spawn in random locations. They go anywhere, randomly, but there are certain quirks to them that make them quite useful against survivors. Whenever they hear grunts of pain, healing, or gen progression, or fast falls, anything that has noises that the survivors may do gets the zombies' attention. These zombies then go towards the survivors and begin to chase them, very slowly I might add. When these zombies come in contact with the survivors, they hit them. This can either contaminate them, injure them, or down them, depending on the survivor's health state at that time. Also keep in mind that Nemesis always has vision on the zombies. These zombies are always highlighted in white, and whenever they do pursue a survivor or survivors in their radius, they tend to extend their arms to go into that general direction of the survivor. This is amazing for Nemesis because it allows him to survey the map without actually being there present. Because whenever you look at your zombie, if they look like they're going towards something or kind of looking like they found brains to eat, keep in mind that that is a clear signal that survivors are around that zombie and may give you a simple direction of where to go to find said survivors. These zombies also have a hitbox. They can block windows, pallets, and other things like that if they're in the correct vicinity. They will chase with the Nemesis if the survivor is around them in their vicinity because the survivor is making so much noise. As a Nemesis player, it is imperative that you understand the power of these zombies and be able to push the survivors into the zombies to get a second hit, or even to body block a window to get a free hit for yourself using the basic attack or the tentacle strike. Said the zombies are not all powerful and all knowing. These zombies can be stunned using a flashlight or a flashbang or any type of other thing that may stun a killer in that same circumstance. The zombies will be stunned for approximately 17 whole seconds, which gives survivors plenty of time to run, do gens, or maybe heal without the threat of the zombie really being there. These zombies also can be destroyed with a pallet, which will put them out the game for approximately 30 seconds or so. So perks like any means necessary, flashbang, or anything else like that will definitely be a great help against these zombies for the survivor. The next thing I want to go over is Tentacle Strike. Tentacle Strike is Nemesis's line attack. Nemesis can hit you with Tentacle Strike and it will contaminate you. If he hits you again, it will injure, and if he hits you again, it will down. Essentially, it will take 3 hits to down you with Tentacle Strike. But the bonus of Tentacle Strike is that it has tiers. So tier 1, when you haven't hit anybody with your tentacle, you have a basic 5 meter line attack that can hit over pallets and over certain structures that are shorter than a survivor. But when you hit tier 2, which takes approximately 4 hits of hitting a survivor, you can break pallets. Now, the cooldown or recovery of breaking pallets normally versus the cooldown or recovery of breaking pallets with Tentacle Strike is not actually different. But what Tentacle Strike allows you to do is to change your camera so you can keep your eye on the survivors so they cannot run from you or try to bamboozle you while you're breaking a pallet that they can easily do while you're using the regular pallet break animation. So the key thing you want to do is try to get to tier 2 as soon as you possibly can to get those juicy pallet breaks and to be able to bulldoze your way through the survivor defenses. Now once you get even more in the tiers, which is the last tier, tier 3, you get an extra meter of range. Now keep in mind that when you do hit people with your Tentacle Strike at tier 3, the animation does change. And there is this misconception that the cooldown is different or the recovery is different. That's not actually true. The recovery is actually the same, but the recovery animation is different. Instead of recovering the same way you would have in tier 1 and tier 2, it looks different versus tier 3. It just gives you a little bit more room space or eye space to look for the survivor versus tier 1 or tier 2. But having 6 meters of range in tier 3 is actually a lot nicer than people give it credit for. But the important part is that you want to get to tier 2 as soon as possible, and that is accomplished by hitting survivors consecutively with the Tentacle Strike, or hitting zombies and survivors with the Tentacle Strike. But you will be sacrificing your zombie pressure in that specific area that you have them. Now this leads into what Tentacle Strike essentially does. It gives you the status effect Contamination. Now that's when it puts this little blue stains on your clothes. It essentially is like the plague, where it makes you cough and you're louder, which means that it attracts zombies a lot further away than you normally would. But it essentially also allows Nemesis to hit you, actually injure you and down you with his Tentacle Strike. The only way to be cured of Contamination is to either have a vaccine, which there's only limited quantity, there's only 4 on each map in each trial. Have a vaccine, have your teammate or you implement the vaccine onto yourself, the same as mending, and then voila, you're cured. However, because these are limited, you might want to be careful about when you do use them. Since Contamination is only means to an end, the main thing you want to consider yourself concerned with is the mutation rate. Now, Nemesis does have some really good add-ons that really helps him with this. His best add-on, in my opinion, is Marvin's Blood, because it essentially cuts down how much you need to hit the survivors in order to get to tier 2 and tier 3. But also, T-Virus Sample is also really good. So those two are his best combo, because T-Virus allows you to hit the zombies for more than they would normally be worth. That, along with having more for hitting survivors, allows you to rank up way quicker. Also keep in mind that you can zone with his Tentacle Strike, right? If you have it out, you're approximately 92% slower. Now, that means that you're a lot slower than 100% that survivors are, but if you're in a tight corridor where they really can't make space, they have to commit. When some people see that the Tentacle Strike is already out, they kind of get crazy and start trying to, go back and forth or zigzag. At that point, you can kind of put it back in the tentacle and hit them. Now, this isn't as potent as if it was demo, right? But his is good enough to where it's similar to Pyramid Head, right? So if you're used to Pyramid Head and his line attack, the same principles apply. Right, we can start now. Okay, guys, so I'm going to show you what to do with Shaq. Kind of do live commentary. So you want to kind of run Shaq normally, go through here, and if you catch them running like this, you essentially wait here. If they vault, if they don't vault, you go back here and get a hit. So if they drop the pallet, you get a hit. If they go for the window, you get a hit. And yeah, kind of the whole game plan around Shaq. Essentially the same game plan with any killer, except you get the added bonus of having this also help you out. Alright, so I'm going to show you what to do around the L wall as well. So essentially what you want to do around the L wall is you want to go around, try to kind of cut them, get a hit if they try to fake it, and then when they try to go around here, I can basically get the basic attack like that, or try to go for the tentacle. Now, instead of trying to chase it around, you're supposed to go through here. Kind of try to cut as much distance as much as possible. You don't want to go around these corners like this, because if you go around these corners like this, you're going to lose a lot of distance. So you want to go cut around here, try to force them back, and then catch them at these loops with the tentacle. Right? Makes sense. What I want to kind of show you is that it really depends. A lot of people get confused on when they can use the tentacle, like around what objects. So as I'm going to demonstrate right here, as long as the survivor is taller than the object, you can kind of hit them, right? So say they're at the other end of this, angle right here. You can't hit them through this. But because I moved it to the side right here, right in front of them, I get the hit. So if they're angled in this position to where you can kind of chase them around it, as long as you can catch them at this part of the hood or this part of the back or around the car like this where everything's lower than the survivor, you can go over it, which makes it a lot easier. Over is the priority of the tentacle, right? So the priority of the tentacle always prioritizes survivors. So say a survivor, when they drop the pallet, usually people will be worried that it will hit the pallet first. But if you make contact with the survivor, it's the survivor first, then prioritize the pallets. And that works the same with zombies or anything else that you would kind of go across. So in this section, I kind of want to talk to you guys about certain add-ons and certain perks that will go really great with Nemesis. So the first perk is actually his own perk, Lethal Pursuer. Lethal Pursuer is very good on Nemesis because you have to get those first initial hits with your tentacle and contaminate them in order to get your mutagen rate up. So this allows you to find survivors very quickly, be able to get really solid pressure on them, and to be able to hit tier 2 before the first 2 gems pop. Right, Lethal Pursuer is amazing on Nemesis. The second perk that I want to talk about is Save the Best for Last. So Save the Best for Last on Nemesis is very good, right? Because it cuts down the need to really use your tentacle unless absolutely necessary on the Obsession, right? Because it makes really good use out of his M1. His M2 is still useful, and just like every other killer, like Demo, Pyramid Head, Pig, things like that, Save the Best for Last is really good on Nemesis. Corrupt just goes really good with Lethal Pursuer, and that's kind of why I have it here. Corrupt and Lethal Pursuer go very well hand in hand. And another perk that I think will go very well with Nemesis paired with everything else could be sorry about that, Spirit Fury. I don't have the perk unlocked because I'm prestiging him again, but Spirit Fury is very good on Nemesis because of how fast he breaks pallets and how often you break pallets with your tentacle, with your tier 2 tentacle. And I think that's very important to have, especially when you're trying to pressure survivors and all things like that. But these perks are just options for you to have and to keep in mind when you're trying to make your good perk build. These are just a few options. Of course, you can always go with the same Ruin, Pop, Corrupt combo, but always consider that you could be using Save the Best for Last or Lethal Pursuer as well. And like we said before, his best add-ons are easily Marvin's Blood and T-Virus Sample. Right, Marvin's Blood takes it down from 4 hits on a survivor that you need in order to get mutagen rate 2 versus 2 hits, right, which is very significant. So Marvin's Blood, it's a yellow add-on, it's very great. T-Virus Sample is really great on Nemesis because it allows you to essentially get a lot of usage out of hitting the zombies. So you hit the zombies with the tentacle, your mutagen rate goes up, but it goes up very minor. With this, if you hit, I think about 4 to 5 zombies, you go up to tier 2. And that's a very big cry from having like 8 to 9 zombies, which is very helpful. But yeah, guys, so this is it. This is the end of the guide. I really hope that this helps you. Let me know if you guys want to see any other guides by me. I really love Nemesis. I like the character a lot, and I think that this should help a lot of people really get a grasp on how Nemesis works and how kind of to get a little bit more into what he does. You know, everything from the contamination to the tentacle strike to when you clean yourself of the vaccine that you get killer instincts or you get location like that. Nemesis has a lot of hidden tech that not a lot of people know about. This video is kind of serve as a PSA to get to know that. Alright guys, go in the comment section, let me know what you think, and please have a great day. Alright, peace. Surround sound. We starting up like a nigga in the first round. Most of these rappers are nervous that we doing these verses. They just clown on purpose like they in a circus. Man, we sell these L's cheap, man, who wants to purchase? Man, these rappers looking weak, tell by the surface. You can